did Russell Westbrook go from this music to this? At the Game Center tonight, music. What? 5-game contest. Westbrook again trying to make a 3-point shot ahead of the game. Applause. What, bro? What are you talking about, man? When you look at Russell Westbrook's career, it's hard not to think he's amazing. The guy got a triple-double for a whole season 4 times. He's been the best player in the league. He won the scoring title 2 times. He led the league in assists 3 times. And he's been an all-star 9 times. So when the Lakers made a huge trade to get Brody, everyone in the world instantly thought the team would win a championship. But we're more than 50 games into the season and the loss. Angeles Lakers are playing like garbage. The team is trying hard to stay above Gorihaku, and Westbrook has been getting most of the blame. He was recently benched in the 4th quarter of a close Pacers game. In the after-game interview, Coach Frank Vogel said that he was simply playing guys that he thought would win the game. The move has made a lot of people ask questions about Russell's place with the team. Is he really this useless? Has he just been putting up empty stats his whole career? And is he really not able to help this team succeed? I looked into the numbers, team statistics, advanced player metrics, and game footage to find out what's wrong with Westbrook. The thing about Russ is that many of the problems we're seeing right now have been around him for a while. It's just that all those problems are more obvious now because he's 33 years old. He's getting older, slower, and easier to defend. He doesn't seem to have the smart basketball brain like some floor generals like Chris Paul or LeBron James. He's not 28 like he was when he won the MVP award. And the situation in LA is pretty ugly this season. Russ is averaging 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists per game. That stat line is something only 10 other players in the history of the league have ever done. Every one of these players is an all-time great or current superstar. Magic, Michael, LeBron, Wilt, Russ, Luka, Harden, Jokic. Still, the Lakers are struggling, so let's forget about Russell's individual achievements just for a moment. Instead, let's look at overall team statistics. Here's what we've seen on teams before. Russell Westbrook joined them during his career there, and after he left, in 2019, Chris Paul was traded for Russell Westbrook. Russell joined James Harden and the Rockets. Chris Paul joined the tanking OKC Thunder. We can pretty clearly see how Russ put up numbers, yet the team did worse, and how Chris Paul took a team in rebuild mode to the playoffs. In 2019, Paul George and Russ won 60% of their games. They had a middle-of-the-pack playoff rating, and when playoff time came, they got stomped by Damian Lillard and the Blazers. Good night, Oklahoma City. In 2020, Chris Paul and OKC won 61% of their games. They had basically the same team stats, but improved their defense. This was a team that had no other else. It was CP3 and solid role players. Now, check out the other side with the Houston Rockets. In 2019, CP3 and Harden were the second best offense in the league. They won 65% of their games. They nearly took down KD, Steph, and Clay in the Western Conference Finals before Chris Paul got hurt in Game 6. In 2020, Russ joins Harden and the Rockets. Russ puts up massive numbers, averaging 27 points, 7 assists, and 8 rebounds. But their team stats dropped in nearly every category, and the team won 61% of their games. They barely scraped by CP3 and OKC in the opening round of the 2020 playoffs. The following year, Russ gets traded to the Wizards. He joins a team that in 2020 was pretty trash. They won just 35% of their games, had an okay assist and offensive rating, and were one of the worst defenses in the league. Then in 2021, Russ joined the team. Points, assists, and ratings stayed largely the same, but they won more games and made the playoffs. So that's a point for us. However, this year, the team is still doing pretty well. They're winning more games than they did last year with Russ. Their offensive rating has dropped, but they average the same assists and have also improved their defense. The only reason this team is the 10th seed is because the entire Eastern Conference got stronger. Overall, I'd say Russ had a positive impact on the team's success from 2020 to 2021. However, it's still questionable whether his impact is better than this year's team, who, instead of Russ, picked a few key role players. With the Lakers this year, it's more of the same. Russ puts up historic numbers, but the team loses more. They have a worse defensive rating, and their offensive rating doesn't really improve. There are obviously a bunch of different factors that play into a team's success, but the pattern here is pretty clear. At this stage in his career, there's no real proof that Russ's individual numbers lead to a team's success, and there is some proof that he's had a negative impact. Teams don't seem to pass more when he's on them, and they don't seem to be more offensively efficient with him either. And more importantly, they don't seem to win more with him. It will be extremely interesting to see how a healthy Lakers team performs come playoff time and whether Russ can break the pattern of his last few seasons. Enough about the team, though. Let's look directly at one of Russell's biggest criticisms, his efficiency. Efficiency has always been an issue for Russell. It's been big numbers and low or inconsistent shooting percentages for most of his career. But as he gets older and less athletic, things are getting worse. This year, his player efficiency rating is horrible. Per measures a player's per minute productivity, Russell's per of 15.6 is second worst of his career. ESPN ranks him the 132nd player in the league, behind point guards like TJ McConnell. His Raptor rating is negative 3.1. Raptor ratings are a smart plus or minus stat. It basically shows whether you are more valuable to your team on the court or off. For comparison, Nikola Jokic leads the league with a per of 33.26 and a Raptor rating of 13.7. Simply, when Russ is on the court, the Lakers do worse. What's going on? Well, Russ isn't hitting his jump shots, layups, or foul shots like he used to. His field goal percentage of 43% is the fourth worst of his career. Within 5 feet of the rim, Russ shoots just 53%, while other guards like Drew Holiday shoot 57% and Kyrie Irving shoots 70% near the rim. When he does get to the line, Russ crumbles at the foul line. Russ currently shoots 67%, which is crazy to see from a former MVP who once shot 85% in 2017. We could be looking at a serious hack-a-shack candidate come playoff time. Applause. Now, in the past, Russell's inefficiency didn't really matter. His ability to attack the basket over and over again, put the defense on their heels, and created easy shots. Even when he bricked the layup, OKC was number 1 in the league in offensive rebounds from 2014 until 2019. Steven Adams basically made a career of cleaning up Russell's trash. But with the Lakers, it's totally different. Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan haven't seen the court. AD has been hurt, and the Lakers haven't been playing Russell's style of basketball. It's looking like a terrible team fit right now. The Lakers just get 9 offensive rebounds per game compared to the 14 offensive rebounds OKC averaged while Russ was there. So Russell's drives aren't creating second chance opportunities like they used to. Instead, they're just bad shots. Plus, the Lakers this year don't take care of the ball like they should. They are currently ranked 25th in the league in turnovers per game. And guess who's leading them in that category? Russ's 4.2 turnovers per game is actually middle of the pack in terms of his career, but they're good for third most in the league. And they're double what players like Chris Paul and Steph Curry have been giving up. That to be fair though, high turnovers come with high usage rates. And Russ has one of the higher usage rates in the whole league. His near 2-to-1 assist ratio is actually pretty good. Still, it's not a category you want your star point guard leading. The Lakers are also currently ranked 25th in personal fouls per game. Guess who leads them there? Russell is averaging 3.1 fouls per game, which is the third worst average of his career. If you're still wondering how a player who's posting stats like Russ just can't seem to help his team win, then all of your answers are right here. The current lineup is a bad fit. He's shooting worse, turning the ball over, and fouling more. This can be blamed on him getting older, but it also has to do with his basketball IQ. The term basketball IQ is sort of a weird one. It's not like there's any real metric for it, but most big basketball fans seem to know who has it and who doesn't. What makes Russ one of the more divisive players in the history of the game is that he may be one of the best players who doesn't really have an elite basketball IQ. But wait, triple-doubles have historically been racked up by the game's most brilliant minds. Magic. LeBron, Larry Bird, Jason Kidd. Westbrook is the undisputed king of triple. So how can he not be a basketball genius like the rest of these guys? Well, it's kind of hard to say, but if I had to take a guess, I'd say it's because Russ spent a large portion of his career just being way more athletic than everyone else. Russell seems to only operate in one single mode, attack. Recently, even Shaq had to let Russ know to slow things down and play at his own pace. In the past, his physical gifts have made him extremely successful. But as he's aged, it's becoming less effective when it comes to the half-court set. Russ has seemed to struggle more than ever this season. Check out how Rajon Rondo manipulated defenses to get super easy buckets for his teammates. Both Raja and